Okay, hi guys, welcome back to Sweet Talk. There is someone blowing leaves outside, but my AC does not work, so I kind of have to keep the door open. Really hoping you can't really hear that. Today I wanted to talk about navigating career doubts in your 20s. Just like to start with my personal experience, I know that I've always kind of been a little scared of commitment when it comes to careers. When I was 18 years old and I finished high school, a lot of my friends went off to college to further educate themselves on the topic that they wanted to at like 18, 19. And I really couldn't bring myself to commit to something that I wanted to do. So I didn't end up going to college. I spent a couple years working at very, very different places for about 2 months at a time. Very non-committal, very much me just sort of bouncing around from area to area, trying to figure out something that might stick. I spent a couple months working in an Italian kitchen as a sous chef. I thought I wanted to be in food for a while in some capacity. I spent a couple months working at a gelato shop, just sort of seeing if retail and hospitality was something that I was interested in. I worked in some galleries. I followed around some people in interior design for a second. And I was just like really hopping about trying to figure out what it is that struck me as interesting. And obviously I didn't find it. I didn't figure it out. I think my main goal at that point in my life was to leave London. And so I kind of pinned my non-committalness to a career to the fact that like I didn't want to be committed to London and I wanted to leave London so bad, and I had this dream to live in Los Angeles for such a long time. So I think that any career that I tried in London, I was bound to not impress me, and I was bound to not want to stay in it, because I just like, my main goal was to not remain in London. My parents kind of wanted me to stay in London, which I understand, and they didn't really want me like going off and traveling if I didn't really have a plan, and I do get that. But sometimes you like need to explore on your own and figure things out. So anyway, I ended up applying to a college, a fashion college in LA, and I, at this point, was not really interested in fashion at all, but it was a college that I could go to that did not require SATs, which I had not taken since I was a British person. We don't do SATs in England, we do A-levels. And at the time, all the colleges in America needed your SATs. Again, fear of commitment. So I didn't really want to commit years to my life, of my life, to study and take the SATs. So I didn't do that. Instead, I just found the easiest way I could move to LA. And that was this one there was this one fashion school in downtown LA that I applied to and I got in. And I was like, you know what, when I move to LA, I'm going to figure everything out. I'm going to know what I want to do. It's all going to work itself out once I get myself out of London and to this place. So I spent a year at this college and obviously hated it, because I had absolutely no interest in what I was studying. I wasn't even studying fashion, I was studying fashion merchandising. I didn't even know what that was, but I spent a year of my life doing that and was absolutely miserable. I hated the school. I met a bunch of people that I loved, but at the end of the day, my days were filled with like classes that I didn't understand and didn't care about. The college was not the best. I actually think it might be shut down now from what I've read, which is insane. I was very, very depressed. I was drinking a lot, was doing a lot of drugs, was meeting a lot of strange people. I just really was, having no fun, and I just like, it didn't feel like my life was improving at all, even though in my head I was like, the minute you move to LA, you'll figure everything out, and that didn't work. So after a year of being there, I moved back to London for the summer. I still had this strong desire to be in LA. I don't know what it was that was drawing me to this certain place. My granddad used to live there, so maybe me visiting him as a child, I was very interested in it. I don't know. I have no idea what was drawing me to that particular place. When I moved back from the college, I decided that I wasn't going to give up on the LA dream. Like, I wanted to be there, and I was going to do anything in order to get there again. So I managed to get an internship at a gallery in LA, because if anyone's ever been to LA, it's not like that welcoming of a place sometimes, and it's not really the type of place you just want to go to with zero plan whatsoever. So I got an internship at a gallery. I moved back to LA in January of the year after. I don't know what year that was, 2020 or 2019? I don't remember. The reason I started working at a gallery was because I decided that I wanted to be in the art world. And I wasn't sure in what capacity. I had been making art for a while before in London, and so I kind of suspected that I wanted to make art, but you know, working in this gallery was what was going to get me back to LA, and that's where I really wanted to be, so I took the job and I worked in the gallery for a few months. The whole time I worked there, I knew I didn't want to work in a gallery. I don't know if I knew that before I started, but very, very soon after starting there, I knew I did not want to be in the gallery. I didn't want to work at the gallery. I didn't want to own a gallery. I just didn't want anything to do with working in a gallery. So then I was like, you know what, I don't think I want to work in a gallery because I think I want to make art. I don't think I want to try and sell art to people. So then that was my whole idea. And that's why I hate working in this gallery so much, because I had been told by people like, oh, if you want to make art, you definitely shouldn't be working in a gallery because you don't really want to like focus on other people's work. You want to be making your own, which I understood. That made so much sense to me. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that does make a lot of sense. Making art is something that I grew up on. My dad is a photographer. My granddad was an illustrator. Like, art has been in my family for ages. I used to always make art as a kid. I did art A-levels and got a good grade. So making art was something that I was like familiar with, and I knew something about it. After working in the gallery for a few months, the gallery shut down because of COVID. I could no longer continue with that career path, which I was honestly so relieved by. And I ended up staying here in LA with my now husband, but he was my boyfriend back then. And I ended up just staying and living with him. And then I got sober. When I got sober, the only thing I knew at all was art, like making art. That's all I had any knowledge about. I didn't go to college. I didn't study anything else. I didn't get great grades in high school with anything else other than art. So I was like, you know what? Like, I think art is the thing that I want to do. I want to make art. And so I'm going to pursue that. And like, obviously I can't leave the house right now. It's COVID. I can't really do anything. I ended up just spending months and months in a garage, making art on my own, and it was so fulfilling and lovely, and I was so happy that I had that while I was getting sober, because I needed an outlet. Alcoholism is crazy because it kind of leaves you with nothing when you get sober. Like, some people had a job, some people had a family, or you know, some people do have things, but like, I was literally left with nothing. I didn't know anyone. I didn't really have anyone. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't have a career. I was kind of left with nothing. And so I was so, so grateful that I found painting, and it literally helped me through the like weirdest, scariest time in my life, because without it I would just probably be like sitting around twiddling my thumbs, and that like will definitely cause you to drink again if you're early in sobriety. And so I was so thankful for painting back then. After a while, when COVID started to die down, I applied to go to art college, and I got in, and that was like such a great feeling, because up to that point, the only people that had said that they liked my art was my mom and my dad. That was it. Those were the only people that had ever even seen my art or like said anything about it. So before then, I was kind of like, I'm painting, but like, no one's seen this. This isn't like a real thing. So then when I applied to art college and I got in, like, that was really nice for the ego. And I was like, okay, great. Like, maybe I really do have something here with this art making situation, because I don't think I would have been able to get into this school unless I had something to show them, and they obviously enjoyed what they saw, so they let me in. So ever since then, I've been at college. I've been at the art college, and I honestly have been enjoying myself so much. I am actually really excited to go back. I've never enjoyed school ever in my life. I hated high school. I hated the school that I went to in downtown LA. I did a foundation year of art in London, like right after college, right after high school as well. And I hated that. I just hated any of my education ventures. Like, I never enjoyed, and this one I actually really do enjoy. I love the people there. I love the space. I love where it is. I just like love everything about it. I'm so excited to like go there in the morning, which is like so new for me. I've never really like felt that before about anything to do with education. I just always thought it was like boring, and I was always very like resistant to it and resistant to like people telling me that they needed this from me or there were deadlines. I just like hated all of that until now I actually like really appreciate it and really enjoy it. So for the whole of my sober life, which is basically the whole time I've been a real human being, I have been on this path to become an artist. So now, when I start to have moments where I start to doubt whether that's really what I want, I get so freaked out, because if I decide that making art is not what I want to do with my life, I have just wasted years and years of my life trying to do this thing, and I don't even want to do it anymore. And that is like horrifying to me. I hate that feeling. I don't actually even believe in wasted time. And the thought that I like wasted time is the thing that freaks me out the most and like actually stops me from even wanting to decide anything else to do. That is like the worst part of it all, is that I can't stop these thoughts where I'm like, oh my God, I just wasted years of my life. I could have been spending these years focusing on something else. Could have like been gathering all this information, all this education, like all these experiences in something else that I like actually wanted to do. And I think those thoughts are the most poisonous, because not only will they make you question the thing that you're trying to do, but it will also make you not want to figure out anything else to do, because it's just like in your head you're like, it's already too late to start something else, which is obviously crazy. I think you can start again at any age, and I'm 26, so I definitely can start again. And the thoughts are still there, and the anxieties are still there, and it's just like really stressful to have those thoughts. I have really severe anxiety, so I'm like used to these thoughts freaking me out, maybe more than they would other people, but anyway, I just can't really deal with them, and I've been having them a lot recently, so yeah. I guess I also question whether like I am genuinely questioning whether I want this as a career, or whether I'm just like having like, it's like ebbing and flowing, and it's just like on a down at the moment, you know, because this is definitely not the first time I've had these thoughts. Is this just me having like a little wobble about it, but it's not actually me questioning it? And do I just have to push past these feelings, or am I genuinely not interested in this career anymore? Like, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. I don't even know how I would find out the answer to that, because what if you can go through like wobbles for months or years, but actually you really do want to do the thing that you've been working so hard to do? How long are you meant to think, oh, I'm just like trying to push past this sort of like creative break? And that's all it could also be, is like just a creative block, and I'm just like really not feeling like making anything. And I think people can go through those for years, which is so scary to me. It's really scary to think that maybe I'm going through that. It could also be because I haven't painted at all this summer. I had a huge long break. I got married, and then I had my honeymoon. I just like haven't been in the headspace to paint. I haven't been at home at all this summer. If I have been, I've been planning a wedding and like figuring out family, and it's just been like insane, and I haven't had any time to sit and paint. So it could also just be that. And it's like going to the gym. When you get into a flow of going to the gym, it becomes easier and easier, but then when you have that like break, it gets really hard to go back. And that might literally just be what I'm experiencing now, is that I coming out of this break and I'm finding it really, really hard to get back into it. That could just be what I'm experiencing. Like, I have no idea, and it's stressing me out. I don't know. I think it's like important to remember though that like having doubts about any aspect of your life is so common, and like everyone feels it, and it's like very isolating when you're feeling it, because you're like, oh God, does everyone else have everything figured out and I just like way behind in life? I imagine this line of like progress in life, which is fake by the way, but I imagine this line of progress, people are lapping me in the progress line. Like, I'm here and I was kind of going there, and now that I'm questioning my career choice, do I have to go all the way back again? Like, that is how I'm thinking about it, which is toxic and not real, and I should not be thinking about it like that. And also, if I wanted to change my career, how is that to say that everything that I've learned so far can't contribute to this new career? Like, I don't know any of this, but my anxiety is just like freaking me out. And I'm pretty sure it's because I'm starting college in a couple weeks, and it's just like another committal thing that I am like freaking out about. And I think people find they have slight commitment issues in different aspects of life, and mine is 100% my career. I just feel like I want to be all these different types of people, and in my head I can only be one. And so it's like picking that one. But these are all like anxiety thoughts. Like I know in the back of my mind that none of it's true. Like you could be as many different people as you want to be in your life. Like that's fine. But my brain is just like not really letting me think that way. And it's like you have to decide exactly what you want to do. And like you're going to do the one thing and it has to like go in this like weird progress line. And like you're already a bit into progress with like the thing you thought you wanted to do. And now you're like going to have to go all the way back. Like that isn't real. That isn't how life works, but I can't help myself by thinking about it like that. I think that when you go through something like this, it's like really important to have compassion for yourself and to remind yourself that it's like okay to have these doubts and questions in your mind. It's so normal, and you're not the only one that's like feeling this way, no matter what aspect of life it's in. Like I know people have doubts. Like it's impossible to just be completely sure about everything in your life. People make plans and they don't go to plan, and I think it's so important to like have a little bit of like, what's the word? What is the word? Leniency? Is that what I'm trying to say? Like to be a bit lenient in your life and not be so like static and hard about it, which is like what I have an issue with. The other thing that really helps me is just like hearing other people's stories and knowing that it's okay to like change your mind, and there have been people who have done it and been successful later. I think I just am stressed at the moment about that particular thing, just about like what I want to do, who I want to be. But I'm doing like what I can to put the thoughts out there and just like look at them, as opposed to just like holding on to these feelings. Like today I have just been feeling so overwhelmed, so stressed. So I decided to film this podcast because I thought it's a much better idea to just like have these thoughts out and in front of you, as opposed to just like holding onto them and like internalizing them, because that's what causes the anxiety and stress, which I am no stranger to. I have like overriding anxiety about everything. But this is something that is like real. I think also getting married was something that sort of catapulted these thoughts, because I really didn't want to become like complacent in my life and just feel that, oh, I'm married now, so I'm just gonna, it's like we're gonna become like one person, you know? And I think that marriage, you have like one, like you have a life together, but you also have like your completely separate lives. And I think that getting married definitely like made these thoughts come full fruition, just because I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't really want to be reliant on someone else's life to make me feel like I've achieved things. Like I just want to achieve my own goals. So anyway, I've really been thinking about that. But the things that I find are very helpful are hearing about other people's experiences, because I can tell you that no one on this planet made a life plan and the life plan went completely as they expected. Like I can assure you that happened to absolutely no one, you know? Nothing I think is going to go to plan goes to plan. And so it's impossible to think that anyone's life has gone exactly how they wanted it. That's just not how life works. That's just not how the world works. You know that. And I think it's important to remind yourself of that. I think it's really important to talk to other people and to get like different perspectives on it, and just to like hear other people's experience is so helpful to me. Personally, I find that the most helpful if I'm going through something that's freaking me out. The thing that calms me down the most, the thing that comforts me the most is like having conversations with other people, like getting out of my own head, getting out of myself and not being so like self-involved. I find that AA meetings for me are really helpful for that, because it's so easy to get so self-involved. And anxiety is literally caused by being self-involved, because you just think you're the most important person in the world, and like everything that happens to you is like so important, and it blows it up into a crazy, crazy size, and it's like gets bigger and bigger than you, and you can't even deal with it. And I think that like hearing other people's experiences, hearing what other people are going through, so humbling and so helpful, and just really makes you like not get so obsessed with yourself, which is like my problem. Definitely, I feel like if I don't talk to people enough, I get so in my own head and I find it really, really hard to like get out of it. I think that understanding that you can be working towards something and it doesn't have just one goal, you know, like going to art school doesn't just have one goal in the end. It can have, like, there could be so many different things. I think it's easy to get like tunnel vision, just what I get sometimes. And then like it scares me when the goal at the end of the tunnel is starting to like blur and like I'm questioning whether that's what I want. Because then I'm not understanding I want the thing at the end of the tunnel, but then also because of my tunnel vision, I'm like not noticing anything around me. So that can freak me out a lot. So I just like really have to remind myself that there are so many different opportunities in life, and just because I'm working towards this one thing, like it isn't just this one thing. Like there are hundreds of different ways life could go. Yeah, I think just like taking things into perspective and hearing other people's experiences, I think like even social media is quite helpful. It could be horrible and like sometimes it's really bad because I start comparing myself to all these other people who are like younger than me and have like had more success than me, and that stresses me out so much. And I think that is actually a aspect of why sometimes I question the things that I want, because I'm like, oh, I'm older than this person and they have already succeeded at the thing that I'm trying to do, so why am I even trying to do this thing? Like I should just try and do something else. The world is huge. There is space for everyone in everything. Like just because one person succeeded at something like doesn't mean there's not space for you. Like that's crazy. Don't think like that. You know, there are hundreds, like no one is the same. So even if you have a career goal and someone else has already succeeded at it, like you're not going to do the same job, you know, it's not going to look exactly the same. Like there's space for literally everyone. Like just because someone has done it doesn't mean it's any less impressive or important that you're doing it too. That is something that I have to remind myself of all the time, because if I start comparing myself to other people, I think like that and I'm like, oh, well, they've already done it, so like there's not even any point in me trying. Don't think like that. I think like that too much, and I have to really remind myself that that's not reality, that's not true. And the people that have succeeded at the thing that you want, like I'm sure they have other goals. Like I don't think they feel like they've completed life. I don't know. So yeah, just being like graceful to yourself. But I was saying like social media can be terrible. A lot of the time it is, because I feel like it makes me compare myself to everyone I see. But I also think that there are some great platforms where people talk about like real life, and it's super helpful to hear their perspective on things that you are experiencing. It's so helpful. I have found so much comfort in hearing people's stories on YouTube and TikTok where they're just telling, you know, the same story that I'm feeling. It's really comforting. I don't know, I think like social media can be helpful, but it also could be hindering. So finding a balance in that is pretty hard. But I would say probably the best way that I know that I can feel like calmer is just like talking to people around me. And it could be like anyone. It could be your grandma, it could be your mum, it could be the person that works at like the grocery store, it could be literally anyone, because the world is so large and there's so many different types of people out there. And I think that if you focus on yourself too much, you kind of get like blinded by the fact that like other people are out there, other people have other experiences that like will probably help you, and like the world doesn't like revolve around you, you know, and that is my problem. But anyway, let me know if you guys ever experienced this. I'm sure you have. And let me know like what your specific thing is that you feel like you worry about the most. Like mine is definitely my career. Mine is definitely like, how am I going to make money, or like how I'm moving forward, like in my career. But I'm like interested to hear what other people's sort of thing is, because I feel like you're able to like have these doubts about literally every aspect of your life. That's normal. But I sometimes feel like there's like a specific aspect of life that people have this about more. So I'm just like curious. Anyway, I just wanted to get that off my chest. I also want to know if you guys do experience this, like what do you do to calm yourself down, or what do you do to sort of like get out of your head? I'm like curious about that as well, because I need tips, I need ideas. But anyway, I love you guys so much. Perfect timing. The guy has started to blow leaves outside my window, so perfect time to say goodbye. But comment down below any tips or tricks that you guys have to sort of like get yourself out of your head. I need them desperately right now. So yeah. I love you guys. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. It's really helpful and you can see every time I post. But yeah, I love you guys. Thanks for sitting and listening to me rant about life. See you next time. All right, I love you.